week, you guys talked about my guy, Scary Terry McLaurin from the Ohio State University. Kevin, I am saying this at a bad time, so I wanted to delay it a little bit as you took a sip of your beverage there. OH?
I-O.
Yes, sir. All right. So I know you guys talked about Terry last week because he's been waiting to get paid, and he hasn't. And so because of that, in the last week, Scary Terry McLaurin has formally requested a trade from the Washington Commanders. But that's not all in the NFC East because much to Kevin's joy, Micah Parsons, arguably the best player on the Dallas Cowboys, has also requested a trade. And he posted a novel in a notes app on X to explain why he felt that way. But ultimately, two of the best players, I'm not saying the best, like two top 10 players, Kevin, in the NFC East have requested a trade. And so, as our resident Eagles fan, our NFC East expert, Kevin, what was your reaction when you saw each of these trade requests?
I think it might have been me. Once I put the Terry McLaurin number that he was asking for, and we kind of went through it last week on the numbers that he wanted, which is $33 million. Me and Ty talked about it last week that DK Metcalf really came in and fucked up the market. Because Terry's not looking at the market. He's looking at DK Metcalf. And if you look over the production, Terry McLaurin has 1,000 yards besides one season when he finished with 958, I believe. And he was catching footballs from me, you, and Ty. You know what I mean? Taylor Heineke, Kirk Cousins. He had a long, lengthy list of quarterbacks that he's been catching footballs from. And to have a guy like that with a new regime, I understand he's not the new regime's guy, but to have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, you're really not paying anybody besides Larry Tunsil and Marshawn Lattimore. You don't make a Larry Tunsil move and not re-sign your best receiver. There were 2 to 3 games last year where they won off of walk-off Terry touchdowns. Terry McLaurin had a big impact for Jaden McDaniels. And if you take him off, I know there's 2 guys on this podcast, especially Toddy, who says Skinny Debo. He's there. They got Luke McCaffrey, and they got some other rookies. But, I mean, they're not Terry McLaurin. And I get it. I'm also one of the big guys that once they hit the age of 30, you don't really want to pay them because they're only going to regress. But he's a guy who's been there through the trenches. He could have requested a trade in his prime, and he didn't. He stuck it out for them. So as a leadership locker room guy, I think they should pay him. I think that's what's going to happen because I don't think anywhere he goes, he's getting 33. And if he is getting 33, he's playing in Carolina. He's playing in New England. You know what I mean? So he's no longer winning. He went to an NFC championship for the first time in his career, and you would only think that he would want to build on that momentum with his quarterback. And like I said, on a rookie deal, there's no reason why they shouldn't do it. Now, there's Micah Parsons news. It dropped. I sent all the screenshots, and then I got an unrestricted number. And I answered it right away, walked down my office. It was Howie Roseman. So we're pitching, we're back and forth. He's letting me know what kind of trade packages we're going to hit. So Micah Parsons might be an Eagle. Toddy thinks he's out of the market. No way in hell he trades him. But is he going to risk him sitting out? They already got enough going on. And yes, I know Jerry Jones is infamous for paying his superstars late. Micah Parsons did not show up to training camp today. So this was the first day where he was a no-show. He was not a hold-up, but a hold-in. So it's interesting to see how this plays out. But inevitably, I told Toddy, whether he's an Eagle or he's out of the NFC East, I'm a winner. We don't got to see him no more, or he's going to be on our team. So either which way it works out, Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin, go get the bag, my man. Go to the AFC. Go over there with Joe and Lamar Donald. Go over there with them. They need the help. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. They paid Dak, I think, the morning of the first game or the night before the first game last year. So the spread did. I know Tyson saying the hotline's back. The spread did jump to 8.5 week 1 versus the Dallas Cowboys. So if they have no Micah Parsons out there, I mean, we're getting rumors that Kyron Williams ran up and down the field on them in their team scrimmage. So he's not Saquon Barkley. So the Dallas Cowboys better figure it out, or trading for George Pickens was a waste. And what a lot of people aren't forgetting, or they are forgetting, is that Micah Parsons and George Pickens have the same age yet. So that can go a long way.
It could go a long way. Jaevon, what was your reaction to Terry McLaurin and Micah Parsons Run it back. I fucked that up. Jaevon, what was your reaction to Terry McLaurin and Micah Parsons each requesting a trade from the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders?
Well, my first initial reaction was Terry couldn't wait. He couldn't have did it a day earlier when me and Kev recorded the podcast.
Right? I hate when that happens.
And then as far as the Terry McLaurin thing, I think you saw him like on the sidelines. He's dapping up Jaden. He's giving a hug to Jaden Daniels' mom. Like, it doesn't seem like he's like, I need to get out of here. And this is like, he's a cancer. He's not that. We all know Terry's character. He's been one of the, I don't know if you guys saw the Orlovsky thing, and he's basically been the bright spot for the Commanders.
The only bright spot.
He's been the only guy to get something positive about the Commanders besides JD last year. Everything before him, like before Jaden Daniels got there, it was like, this guy, Terry McLaurin, is a monster. Like, he's going to get 1,000 yards every single season, and he doesn't get hurt. So for him to want to raise, it kind of just makes sense. But at the same time, you're looking at it from a new regime. Adam Peters, who came from San Francisco 49ers, by the way, he didn't draft Terry, and the new ownership wasn't really a part of all of those bad years. So from a general front office standpoint, you're looking at it from, hey, we love you, Terry, but I'm not going to give you $40 million or $38 million. Let's find the middle ground. We want you here. Let's get you at a reasonable number. I think a reasonable number is 30. That seems like the number. Terry's asking reportedly for 34, 33-ish million dollars. That is what DK Metcalf got. And me and Kevin don't view DK as a top 5 wide receiver, although he is being paid, because I think a team in the Steelers was desperate for something on the outside, and they're like, yeah, blank check, here you go. Just put whatever number you want on there. We got Aaron Rodgers coming. Don't worry about it. I think DK Metcalf is a really talented player. I don't think he's a top 5 wide receiver. Now, Terry's looking at like, well, DK got this, and look at my stats, X, Y, and Z, as he should. And his agent him and his agent are arguing the fact, my numbers are better than DK Metcalf's. I should get more money than him. That should be what anybody's agent should do, based off what the market has presented itself. Now, we all realize that there are blips in the system when it comes to certain people's contracts. Like, I don't know, Deshaun Watson getting $250+ guaranteed $1 million and has been terrible and hasn't played. So there are things like that happen that will mess up the market from time to time, and the market will always reset itself. And there will be players like a Jamar Chase, like a CeeDee Lamb, like a Justin Jefferson that will get crazy amounts of money because they are the best at their position. Now, prior to this all happening, Courtland Sutton signed a $23-ish million deal, and Kevin was like, hey, look how much Courtland Sutton got. Why isn't Terry signed for that? I think that's a slap in the face to Terry. I wouldn't say Courtland Sutton's a bad player, but he's a very, very good receiver, but he's not the upper echelon. He's very consistent, but he has shown signs of injury. Terry has not shown those signs of injury in the past. He's very production. Production is literally what Terry McLaurin brings to the table, and obviously, when you got a good quarterback, you saw that what he was able to do in the playoffs, what he was able to do in the regular season, it was just tenfold. So I just think Terry has to kind of come down a little bit on his number, and let's be a little bit more realistic about what he's going to be getting. And then another thing we mentioned last week was Terry McLaurin has no All-Pros, and he doesn't have, I don't know, I think he only has like 1 Pro Bowl. So I think that does play into the fact. I'm not saying Terry's not, I think he's one of the top receivers in the league, but it gets a little murky when it comes to the money. Now, for the Micah Parsons side of things, as far as Micah requesting a trade, I think this is a little bit more realer than a lot of people are thinking. Jerry and Micah, I guess it was reported that they had a handshake deal in OTAs, and Jerry This is not 1960 whatever, 1970. I don't know what he think this is. This Michael's like, all right, cool. I guess they were talking about when Deion signed with the when Deion Sanders, when he signed after the Niners won the Super Bowl, he went to the Cowboys. That was like a handshake deal for like $13 million. I can only imagine what that $13 million was for Deion Sanders back then. Probably would have been like $30 million now. I guess he did the same thing with Tony Romo. He said that he bought the Cowboys off a handshake deal, and I'm just like, well, what type of fucking like rinky dink ass like what?
Gotta get everything in writing nowadays.
Yeah, so it's just like Micah did the right thing. Hey, we talked about this number. Let me get my agent, who I'm paying, to orchestrate this deal for me, as anybody should. Iron out all the details, make sure this and that. And Jerry's like, well, we agreed to this and blah, 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 blah. And I wonder how, I don't know what the number is, but it should, me and Kevin talk all the time, obviously. The number should be I think it's in the realm of a Micah or of a TJ Watt, of a Myles Garrett, which is, I think Micah is like right below those guys. He's younger, obviously, so the potential for him to be better than those guys is, the sky's the limit for Micah Parsons, obviously. But right now, he's just right below. I think he's like right below those guys. So he should get something similar, maybe a little bit less, but I think Micah's asking for top dollar. But when you look at who the Cowboys are paying, they're already giving CD 30 plus. Dak got 60. So Trayvon's got $100 million contract, and he's hurt. And Micah probably wants 40. So Jerry's kind of looking at it like, hey, I'm paying. He already said it in one of the press conferences, that one of the interviews they did. I paid Dak, and he only played 7 games for us. Or I paid CD this and blah, 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 blah. So I see both sides of it. It's going to be tough because Micah is going to ask for an astronomical amount of money. And
As he should.
As he should, yes. But I don't know if the Cowboys can pay what he's asking. So, I definitely see Micah Parsons willing to sit games out. Like, just trade me. Like, I see that. Like, from the Terry McLaurin, I think it's night and day from the trade requests. As far as what's going on, I feel like the Commanders are going to end up coming to a solution. Whereas the Cowboys and Micah Parsons, I don't think there's been any movement since him and Micah shook hands in that alleyway or wherever they were at when they struck this deal. So he's definitely not going to the Eagles. I will tell you that, Kevin. I'm just letting you know that right now. Jerry he may be an idiot, but he's not stupid. He's not. So Kevin's going to say, well, we can offer him the best. We can just go here. You know what? You saw what Saquon did when they just let him walk. The Giants let him walk, and he was just 2,000 yards and a Super Bowl ring. Joe Shea was sick to his stomach. Now we're just going to willingly do a deal with the devil? Hell no, Jerry.
I mean, when you get 2 good guys and 2 picks, why not?
Because then you have to watch him twice a year. That's why.
Would have to freeze over before Jerry Jones.
You think Jerry Jones give a fuck? Jerry Jones is out in 2-3 years.
Jerry Jones would rather.
Eagles fans that say things like this. Literally,
Okay, Shaun. So before you get all mad at me, 20 seconds later, he sends me a fucking gift talking about Niners get traded for Micah Parsons. So as crazy as I am,
you too,
right here with me. He's not mentioning that right now. So it's only Eagles fans. You going down with the ship too.
All right, well,
point me out.
Context matters, so thank you for revealing that.
I'm about to blow a gasket.
Well, okay, but what the thing that I was about to say is that Jerry would rather see Micah sit out for 2 to 3 years, go to the XFL, go to the CFL, whatever. He'd rather see him just completely sit out than become a Philadelphia Eagle. Oh. Jerry Jones would rather die before seeing him become a Philadelphia Eagle. And it would take Jerry Jones dying for Micah Parsons under team control to become a Philadelphia Eagle. It would have to take Stephen Jones to be the one to bite the bullet and say, hey, the Eagles can give us the best package. It's going to hurt, but this will help us better in the future. And so, I was about to, okay.
I saw it in your face. Why I throw that in there? Because
yeah.
But if you guys look at it from like where would he get traded to? He's probably going to get traded to like a bad team. That's not good. That's where like Dallas is a bad team, but they're like, we think we can be this type of team, but they're not the Jags.
It's their year every
Browns.
year, Jaevon.
They're not the Titans. They're not that.
they're not the Niners.
Okay, it was a low blow. We're just in the NFC Championship game, but
How many
years ago was that?
where
1 year
actually would go. It's not like it would realistically probably be an AFC team that's not good, that has a lot of cap space that can absorb his contract. That's kind of where. So it's like you want to get paid by the Jaguars.
Money's green, Toddy.
Eric Armstead did.
Not a lot of people request trades from the Cowboys. It's more like I want to go to Dallas or get drafted to Dallas versus I need to get out of here. So, yeah, Kevin's right. He does have a point there. Money is green.
Well, context certainly matters. And Kevin, I'm glad that you mentioned the other part of that conversation that Toddy was not revealing, because that saves us some time. Because I was just about to ask Jaevon, all right, Kevin thinks that Micah Parsons is going to be an Eagle. Jaevon, what do you think is a realistic landing spot? And now we just saved ourselves some time just to cut out that bias. And so I do think what Jaevon just said, though, is a good point just in terms of the realistic options. Is it's a bad team. I mean, Kevin, you sent that one trade proposal in the group chat of Who Says No, and it was created by a Boston fan. And in that trade, wasn't Terry McLaurin and Micah Parsons going to the Patriots? And my response was just, of course that came from a Boston fan. Only a Boston fan would make that trade or trade proposal. And so the last thing that I'll say to close out this topic before we move on to another wide receiver, actually several wide receivers are coming up next, but what I'll close with is that I love Terry McLaurin. I think he deserves to get paid. I think he deserves to get paid a little bit more than what Jaevon is saying. I think around the 33, 34 range, not 38, 39, but he deserves to get paid $33, $34 million annually. And all of that is said, but wide receivers, unfortunately for Terry, are more so a dime a dozen in terms of, like right now, the 49ers have arguably the worst wide receiver core in the NFL, as Kevin has been telling us for months. But the 49ers have a little bit of optimism because they drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round last year before he got shot. They drafted other rookie wide receivers that are going to be starting their careers this year. And so the point is, as Kevin takes a nap, is that the 49ers have optimism because they spent draft picks to try to find that replacement. It's a lot harder to find that replacement through the draft for an elite defensive end than it is for a wide receiver. And so that works against Terry McLaurin. Like when we're just talking about these two players by themselves, Micah could sit out and he will get what he wants eventually. He may have to pull a Le'Veon Bell, but he can get his money eventually. Terry, on the other hand, might get paid, but he gets traded to a crappy team to do so. And it's like his leverage is less. And so I think both of these guys deserve to get paid, but it'll probably end up working out better long-term for Micah Parsons, just because there's not as many Micah Parsons or potential Micah Parsons out there in this world. But there are plenty of elite wide receivers who are coming up throughout the high school, college ranks, and even some in the NFL today that haven't gotten that opportunity to really flourish. And a team like the 49ers could give some of those players an opportunity. I don't know if it's necessarily Chosen Anderson, who we're going to get to in a bit. But the point being is that it's a lot easier to replace an elite wide receiver as great as Terry is than it is to replace an elite defensive end like Micah Parsons. And so it'll be interesting. We will continue to follow both of these stories as they develop, and you can count on us to talk about it here on Stats Over Politics as